When life gets unpredictable, preparation matters. In medicine, it's all about staying alert, ready for whatever comes through the door. On the road, it's no different. That's why Volvo designs vehicles to help anticipate risk, reduce harm, and protect lives. The Volvo XC90's advanced safety systems inspire confident decisions wherever the road takes you. The Volvo XC90, for life. Proud sponsor of the Pit Podcast. Learn more at volvocars.ca/safety.
Easy go, little high, little low.
To me.
Elias Mackos, CJAD 800.
Anywhere the wind blows doesn't really matter to me. To me, that's probably exactly what Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was thinking when he sang a rendition of Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody at the Savoy in London ahead of Queen Elizabeth's funeral. Accompanied by Gregory Charles on the piano, the tribute to the late Queen has incredibly received backlash. The video follows the uproar we saw a little while ago. Remember the video of the Finnish Prime Minister dancing to Girls Just Want to Have Fun with Their Friends, leading many to debate how heads of state should behave in public. Now, you know, you've maybe heard me talk about this. I think it's a hullabaloo over nothing. But I do want to get into that night and the context of that evening, because I do think that's important. And we are so lucky on the program to be joined by radio host, TV host, singer, pianist, dancer, actor, Quebec gem in general. Gregory Charles is on the line. Mr. Charles, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
So why don't you take us to that night and tell us about the weekend and put everything that we saw in a snippet of video that some people freaked out over in context.
First of all, it was an amazing weekend in London, and amazing to be part of that celebration. There was something very serene about the entire weekend with the British people in London. It wasn't sad. Obviously it was not joyful, but it was very, very serene. And anyway, it was a great weekend. But that day, I think the Prime Minister had a full day. I suspect, I don't know exactly what he did that day, but I had a full day, and I was just a delegate to this, and we had a 4-hour-long rehearsal of what would eventually be the funeral on Saturday afternoon, and we had a few investitures of different stuff, and we met with the military and plenty of stuff, and we met with the people from the delegation, the Canadian delegation in London, and in the evening, I think pretty much everyone had something on their program as well. In my case, I went to see Jersey Boys because I'm about to direct that in a few months. And when I came back from Jersey Boys, most of the people who work at the delegation in London and people who were accompanying the Prime Minister and our entire delegation were having a drink in the bar at the hotel. I got there around, I don't know, maybe 10:30, 10:45. So plenty of Canadians and the people who support them at the delegation. The Prime Minister came to join them, sat with them. I think they were all having a really good time. A lot of Quebecers part of that team. Mm-hmm. And why do I insist on the fact there were a lot of Quebecers? Well, because they know me really well. Those who are from outside of, from the rest of Canada don't know me as well. I think there was a lot of pride in the team in saying, this guy knows every song. He knows absolutely every song. And there's a piano in the lobby, so maybe we should go to the piano. And that's exactly what happened. It was, I think, between 12:30 and 1 o'clock, the team got me to the piano. The Prime Minister was just part of the people who were there. And I started playing, I started taking requests and playing songs. And everyone was having a lot of fun, and we did some Leonard Cohen, and we did some Quebec songs. I remember doing Le Retour de Don Quichotte by Michel Rivard, and plenty of stuff. And then it just became a fun moment for everyone. And then, the way when you're the leader of a team, and everyone's having fun, and then they go, sing one, or something like that. And so Mr. Trudeau was right next to the piano, and I said, hey, what about a tribute to the Queen by playing some Queen? And we did Don't Stop Me Now. I did Don't Stop Me Now, and then when I got to that, it's a song that everyone knows, and he sang a part of it. And the evening ended not too long after that, because I think it must have been past 1:00. And then before I was done with the piano, I think that video was already on the web. And so that's what happened.
And that's how things travel around the world. We're with Quebec. I need to add director to your intro as well. We're with Gregory Charles, who was in London over the weekend ahead of the Queen's funeral with the Canadian delegation. Gregory, you know what? I got to ask you, because I had a little bit of pride when the photos started coming out of the Canadian delegation, and I saw you there. I actually said, there's our boy. He's there. So just can you tell me about maybe how you got there and the honor that you got to be part of this?
Well, you see, the funny thing about this whole thing is that I got to know Prince Charles, now King Charles III. I got to know him 25 years ago when he came on a tour of Canada, and I was asked to host all of the evenings that were held through that tour. And I got two great gigs in the 90s. One of those was accompanying Nelson Mandela, and the other one was accompanying Prince Charles. And so I'm not saying I'm buddies with Prince Charles, but we did hit it off. And we had so much fun during that tour. And he would come on stage and sing with me. And Minister Sheila Copps back then had introduced me, and she was completely wrong in the introduction. She introduced me as some other black guy. And so I mentioned it when I got on stage, and he thought it was so funny. So he came on stage and said, okay, I know there's confusion, but he's Gregory Charles, and I'm Prince Charles. And everyone laughed. And Prince Charles was back then a fun-loving guy. I suppose he's still like that today. And in any case, we toured Canada, went to Saskatoon, to Ottawa, to Quebec City, and other places. And every time he came back after that to Canada, his office would call me and say, hey, you want to join us? And I did. So he met my daughter, and he met everyone. So this time around, I wasn't surprised that they would kind of extend an invitation to be part of this. And on top of that, I was made an officer of the Order of Canada in 2016. So that invitation went through the protocol, the office at the Canadian government, and they said, we would like you to be one of the delegates who representatives who comes with us. So I did. I thought it was an immense honor. It was first of all, because I felt for Prince Charles, now King Charles. I lost my parents in the past few years. I wanted the people who I kind of liked to be there, and they were. And this is what happened. The celebration was sober. It was serene. The music was fantastic. I have to tell you, we had a 4-hour rehearsal on the Saturday. And during that 4-hour rehearsal, I spent time with Dame Kirite Kanawa, great New Zealand singer. I spent time with 12 Nobel Prize winners, with Victoria Cross winners, and the atmosphere in the basement of Westminster Abbey was not one that was constantly somber. And it wasn't, people were joyful and happy, as is the case in most countries in the world. When there's a funeral, there's of course respect, but there's also a celebration of life. So my weekend was fantastic, and that evening for me was obviously a lot of fun. People who know me have been saying, so there was a piano and there was Gregory Charles, and he ended up at the piano, of course.
Yeah.
The difference is that the Prime Minister was part of that. In my opinion, I lead a team. And when we're together, I feel it's a little bit of my responsibility to, get spirits up and have a good time and have fun. Although, we might be in a crisis or there might be a super important event. That's the way I saw that evening. I don't see him that often. I saw Mr. Trudeau just letting his hair down in a T-shirt, not at all in a public environment, although the piano was in the hall. At 1:00 in the morning, it's not it's not that public. It's mostly people. So that's the way I saw the idea. I respect that other people don't see things that way. I find that very, very unfortunate. But, I got to see my face on Trevor Noah last night.
We are continuing our discussion with Gregory Charles, who joins us on the line. Of course, Gregory was on piano in London over the weekend, part of the Canadian delegation for the Queen's funeral. And by now you've seen that video of Gregory at the piano, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau belting out a tune or two. Now, Gregory, thanks for sticking around. One question,
No problem.
One question I really wanted to ask you. In my opinion, like the worst part of society right now is people who make judgments about others based on seeing 10 to 15 seconds of video. So what are your thoughts on the people that have called Justin Trudeau embarrassing or disrespectful based on seeing that 15-second video?
Well, I personally think they're wrong. I accept that people can have different point of views. I do also think that when you dislike someone, anything they do will get on your nerves. But I suspect that most human beings sometimes pick their nose when they're driving their car. And I suspect that sometimes, people are caught doing something that's just fun at a moment when they didn't think someone else was looking. In this case, this was not an official thing. This was just a bunch of people at the end of a really, really long day, in the middle of a very, very complicated weekend, just letting off some steam in a small group of, we might have been maybe 45 or 50. With a bunch of people just having a really, 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 really good time. So I feel this idea that's very, very divisive of jumping to a conclusion with just a few seconds of what you see, or with a few seconds of what you see, but also years of dislike of someone or a cause. I think that's just wrong. It was wrong for the Finnish Prime Minister. It just so happened that we had the Prime Minister of New Zealand on the plane as we came back, and she was also sharing with us all these times that she gets called out for smiling, for being nice, or for having a good time, and I think that's unfortunate. I'd like to add one thing.
Yes,
I told you before that I toured Canada with Nelson Mandela. I think Nelson Mandela was a very, very respectful person. I think he was very respected as well. When I toured with him, his country was still under
apartheid?
Apartheid. And we still had a really, really good time, pretty much every night, sticking around after people left, and we would sing together, and it was a meeting of different cultures and different people. And my dad walked with Martin Luther King, who was also respected for the importance of the civil rights movement. And they still sang most of the time. Mahalia Jackson was part of that delegation. Actually, we got a fantastic speech with the I Have a Dream speech, which wasn't on the program just because Mahalia Jackson was right behind Dr. King saying, tell them about the dream, Martin, tell them about the dream. As a musician, as an artist, I have difficulty with the people who find that the minute there's an expression of joy, that it's disrespectful or that it shouldn't be done or it should be hidden somewhere. I feel a little bit in a totalitarian type of regime when people say that. And by the way, most totalitarian regimes ended up banning music, banning books, banning other stuff.
You couldn't say it better, Gregory. You couldn't say it better. It's humans being human.
Yes. And the thing is, I'm sad about the fact that a lot of people have said that it was disrespectful. I cannot say that I know Justin Trudeau really well, not more than I know Prince Charles, but I do know that he was genuinely moved and saddened by the Queen's passing. And he told us so. He sat with me 40 minutes on the plane, and we talked about his experiences with he was lucky he got to meet the Queen when he was young and met her many times. I felt the genuine sadness, but I was sad also when people around me passed away, and my dad's funeral was a sad event, but not the night before, and not the night after, and not the rest of the weekend, because and it may be my West Indian blood, but we celebrate life, and I think it should be celebrated all the time. I'm happy that our Prime Minister can sing on key. I would be disappointed if he sang off key.
Gregory, listen, we have to leave it there. 15 seconds here. Can you just tell me what's next for you, where we can see you next? You mentioned the Jersey Boys. What's on your plate?
Yeah, well, the first thing is I'm directing The Sound of Music in Montreal. It'll be December and January at the Théâtre Saint-Denis. And we're doing it in French, but we're also doing it in English. So if people want to see my version of The Sound of Music, full-fledged, full cast, orchestra, the whole thing, that should be a lot of fun, and that's coming up. And I'm always on tour, so I'll get back on the road after that. And 2023 is my 35th anniversary, career anniversary.
Wonderful.
So I'll be back on tour.
Gregory, thank you so much. Sound of Music coming up. Looking forward to it. That is Gregory Charles. What a way to end our show for today. Appreciate it, Gregory. Take care.
My pleasure. Goodbye.